Okay, so, hello. How are you doing today?
Good. It's been nice to finish up finals week.
Yeah. It's your last week here. I know you're a senior. But did you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Kay. I'm majoring in electrical engineering. I have a minor in engineering corporate practice. I'm living in the undergraduate community at Fisher, and I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. And then I've also served as president of PrismND for the past year and a half.
Yes. Do you like electrical engineering? Like, what's that made? Like, why did you choose electrical engineering? I'm just curious.
It's challenging, but I do like it. I like knowing how stuff works, and I was also very indecisive. So electrical engineering for me was just a way to keep it as broad as possible, because I can now work on anything that has electronics within it, which is a lot of things these days.
And so I know there's like mechanical engineering and like all those other like sort of niche subsects. What made you choose like electrical versus the other genres of engineering, so to speak?
I originally was pretty set on aerospace engineering because I like space a lot, but I quickly realized that I don't like planes as much, and it's very like specific into planes and like the outer structure of spacecraft. So I picked electrical because I can still do all the cool space stuff, but I can also do other things as
you
well.
can do space? I didn't know that. I knew, but I keep forgetting they had aerospace and like, so electrical engineering, you can you still go to NASA with that degree? And like,
you can do a lot with it, yeah.
Oh, okay. I better see you in the military, taking us all the way to Mars with Elon and. Let me cut him. But yeah, like other than like electrical engineering, what was your thought process when you were deciding on colleges? And
Notre Dame was one of, I think, 3 or 4 schools that I actually got to see before COVID. I came here, I think, after my sophomore year of high school, so pretty early. I did a tour, and I also went to a Catholic high school. I decided I actually liked having the opportunity to like go on retreats and have other experiences outside of academics. That was also part of the school and part of the university.
Oh, so that retreat got you to Notre Dame? Or like...
No, so I just, so I came here and I toured, and then I applied, and I got accepted, and then I waited until like basically May 1st to decide. I pushed it all the way off. And then around that time I also had my senior retreat, which had, actually one of my high school teachers was a Notre Dame alum, and he went up and gave like a reflection during our retreat, and I went home after that and was like, okay, I want to go to Notre Dame. Yeah.
What other schools were you like in comparison to Notre Dame, like looking at, like what was your alternative? In
hindsight, I think I got accepted to Notre Dame early, and after that I did not really try on a lot of my other applications.
Because that was stressful, right?
Even though in my head I was like, I don't know if I want to go there, I think part of me knew.
So it was difficult, and you were applying right during COVID, so you was at home, and
it was hard to be excited about schools because I did a lot of like Zoom tours where they'd like walk you around on Google Maps, and they all look the same. And then also when you got accepted, the admitted students things were all on Zoom too. So it was like hard to get excited about anything, but I got some letters from like current Notre Dame students as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. And was it from like the college?
It was from the Society of Women in Engineering. Writes a lot every year to admitted students.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I was wondering if you are comfortable like just sharing a little bit about, you aside from like Notre Dame, like you as an individual, like who you came to understand yourself to be as you over the last 4 years, what that process has been like for you.
I feel like this is the story for a lot of queer students at Notre Dame, is that I didn't really know about my identity when I was really picking colleges, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. Like, it wasn't necessarily a factor, and then you get here and you kind of realize that maybe it is like part of your life and something that you have to grapple with a little bit and try to find your place, like where you fit in.
What was the most jarring like moment where you were like, oh, I feel conspicuous in this sort of like situation?
For me, welcome weekend was probably the most, I guess, jarring or challenging. Just being like, you're sorted into your dorms, and I wasn't really feeling it with my dorm community. I mean, they were all like super nice people.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the kind of community that I was looking for, because inherently it was all based around sisterhood, which is not something that I necessarily wanted to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also hard as a freshman coming in to really realize that, and like, I don't know,
because you just want to fit in.
Yeah,
like,
you want to be part of it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to feel like you're not part of it.
And welcome weekend, that's like the first thing you do here. So you're like, other than your like, was it your dorm mainly that caused like a shift in having like to grapple two versions of yourself, or was it other aspects of the school or like your Notre Dame life?
I really think dorm is the biggest one for me. I think it was just a quick conclusion that I will probably find community outside of my dorm.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people who are really into dorm life, that's like the center of their social network on campus.
Yeah.
But I just knew that wasn't going to be it for me. So I feel like I really went to a lot of clubs and started meeting a lot of people in my classes, and like started going to Prism events even.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I kind of found my people.
How did you meet Prism?
I will say for me, and I think for all freshmen, like the GRC, the Gender Relations Center, is confusing. I just didn't expect that to be like the main resource for the LGBTQ community. But by chance, my Moreau instructor, my first semester, was a director, or the assistant director at the GRC at the time. He would always like promote the GRC events at the end of our Moreau classes every week. So he would tell us like about things that Prism was doing, or like the welcome back picnic that Prism and the GRC were holding. So
from that introduction through like your Moreau classes, is that when you started to pursue those events?
I would say slowly. I think I went to a lot at the beginning of my freshman year, but then I kind of fell off a little bit. I feel like I was just questioning a lot, and I came to the wrong conclusion that I was like, okay, I shouldn't go if I don't know that I'm part of the community or not, if I don't know like my identity yet.
Yeah.
Which, knowing much more about Prism, that's like part of the whole point of why it's there, is to just go and figure things out about yourself and just have a space to talk to people.
What was that moment like when you knew who you were?
I feel like I just psyched myself out a lot, because I felt that I was different in some way, and then I was like, well, like, I don't know who I'm attracted to. And I was like, maybe that's not why I'm here. And then I stopped going, and then I started to like, I feel like realize more about just my gender and that part of my identity, and having that experience or that like knowledge is what I kind of came full circle. I was like, okay, wait, I have a different part of my identity, and that's why I keep feeling called to come to this space.
When was that moment like where you were like, wait, this is something I want to commit wholeheartedly to, and like it stood out across organizations or just other extracurriculars you were involved in?
I wasn't super active in it when I decided to apply to be an officer. I think I was maybe going to hangouts like once a month, if that. But the president at the time, super nice. Like, she knew everybody's name. She'd always say hi to you. And I really just created this space of just like a calm, like, place you could go once a week and just not have to think about having to fit in or having to be a particular way. I don't really know why I applied the first time. It was one of those, they sent out the email and I was like, oh, I probably won't do that. And then I just couldn't bring myself to delete the email. And I kept like coming back and like opening it and like, oh, maybe I could do that. And then I eventually just was like, okay, I should just write it up and submit it and see what happens.
Oh, wow. Do you notice anything that's changed about you since you became president? Like, how has that impacted your life in your later years here?
Yeah, big question. Yeah, I think when I started, I was very stressed about meeting people, especially things like the welcome back picnic. I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself to be like, like, I have to help these new, like, first years who are on campus, who this might be their first thing that they're going to. And I was always very stressed out of, like, what if I say the wrong thing? Like, if I don't know.
Really?
Don't greet them, like, well enough. So I feel like in those interactions, I was probably, like, as nervous as the person that I was talking to, because I just cared so much about wanting to do a good job with it. And I think over time, I just got more comfortable, like, accepting that there's not always a right thing to say. It's more about making an effort and going up and talking to somebody and just seeing where the conversation takes you. Yeah. Like, you don't have to have, like, a perfect speech or the perfect reassurance to give somebody. It's more about just being there.
That's reassuring for you to say out loud, because you make that energy so lax, and, like, it allows me to, like, you know, breathe a little bit, because in a lot of spaces where there is that community aspect, so to speak, I have to code switch, and I have to present myself in a way that really assimilates to this environment in the safest way possible. But with you and, like, how you've carried Prism these last 2 years, I feel like I didn't need to do any of that.
That was also something that I admired a lot about, like, past Prism presidents. Just that you could just go in and just be there. You're just with this community that people don't really care about the surface level things. It's more about, like, how you answer our dumb icebreakers. You know, like, I think people just put more weight in, like, whether you think a hot dog is, like, a taco or a sandwich than certain aspects about your identity that don't really matter as much of, like, who you are as a person and, like, who you are as a friend. You can just be yourself in that space.
And I feel like the people we meet, like, they teach us a lot about ourselves, and they constantly better us, because there is discrimination within the community, and those internalized isms, they still exist. And so having a space where everyone can interact with each other and get to know each other and understand and enter into somebody's chaotic world, it helps you see different perspectives enough to know what your shortcomings are as a queer individual, as a ally.
It's also been a really cool experience seeing everybody else grow. Like, I think at Hangouts, I always try to, if there's someone new walks in, I try to go over and make sure that, you know, I talk to them, like, welcome them. And sometimes, like, somebody else will beat me to it. Like, there's just someone who's like, oh, new person, like, come and join our conversation.
Yeah.
And people are so quick to do that.
Literally, like, some people are more, like, outspoken and extroverted, some people are more reserved, and we just kind of balance each other out. I wanted to ask, just, like, as we, like, wind down on this conversation, because this is a good conversation, really deep, what have you been reflecting as the sun sets on your undergraduate years here?
I feel like I've had a lot of ups and downs. I mean, it's been 4 years, obviously, so there's going to be, you know, high points and low points in that. But I've definitely had times that I kind of question whether it was the right fit for me to come to Notre Dame. But I also feel like whenever I have one of those moments, I always have support or somebody there for me, or somebody to, like, remind me of what the Notre Dame community really is. That there's always someone that you can go to talk about things, even if it's related to your identity, and even if it seems like you can't do that because it's a Catholic school. I feel like that's a perception that a lot of people have, is that there's no resources there for you, which is not, it's just not the case at all. But I think my advice to any incoming student would just be that, like, you belong here. Even as a queer student, you still belong here at Notre Dame. And that if anything ever makes you feel otherwise, that there are plenty of resources and people here who really want to help you with that. And even though those are, sometimes it can feel really intimidating trying to find those people or trying to figure out who might be safe to talk to, there are a lot of people out there. And especially, like, Prism, the students in Prism are really amazing. I mean, Erin, you're amazing and you're going to do a great job next year. And you can always reach out to them if you want to chat, or even if you just want to know, like, hey, I'm trying to figure out who I can talk to about this. They can tell you, like, here are all the wonderful people on campus that you can go to, and it will just alleviate so much of that stress of figuring out like who you can talk to about things or who you can lean on for support. I think that's what I appreciate most too, is people are really good listeners. Something about the Catholic character, I think people, even who aren't Catholic, are very focused on just being present in the moment. And even if they don't understand a challenge that you're going through, they'll still be there to listen.
Yeah. Well said, Kay. Well said. I mean, this was a really good conversation. Thank you for having this with me. Well, I'll let you go and enjoy your last week here so that you can have all the fun shenanigans during senior week and do all the drinking. Just